When I started gaining weight out of nowhere after losing 30 pounds in 6 months and keeping it off for over 11 years, all of a sudden I started gaining weight. I did what any responsible woman would do. I went to my physician. So I had an appointment with my gynecologist for my annual. My energy was gone, my thinking was foggy, and I remember specifically talking to him about my hair falling out around the edges. And I mentioned all of this to him, and his recommendation was that I needed to do a better job at taking a vacation. So let that sink in for a second. I'm listing like real symptoms in my little paper gown sitting up on the table: fatigue, brain fog, hair loss. And his clinical advice was very casual: take a vacation. So then I go to my primary care physician. She's a Black woman. We're about the same age. She'll get it. She ran a basic metabolic panel. She told me, well, your thyroid is fine. Everything came back normal. But listen, I did not feel normal, which is how I learned something very important that I want to share with you. Normal in conventional medicine does not mean optimal. Just because your score is in the normal range, it doesn't mean that you are optimal. It just means that you're not sick enough for us to prescribe you any medication. So that led me down the path of finding a functional practitioner who actually ran all of my labs that the other doctors wouldn't. And finally, I had answers. Not great answers, but I had some answers: insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, elevated cortisol, a nervous system that was stuck in survival mode. And yes, the diagnosis was pretty upsetting and surprising, but at least I knew what I was dealing with. So, unfortunately, after 7 months of working with this particular practitioner, after I had spent hundreds on supplements and protocols and getting my labs done, she looked at my latest labs and said, and I quote, "Unless you get your cortisol down, you're fucked." That was it. That was her answer. I think I was a little bit of a interesting test case for her because I did have such healthy habits, but my labs did not reflect my healthy lifestyle. And so that was the moment that I stopped outsourcing authority over my body and I became my own guinea pig. Just like I did when I was trying to figure out how the heck was I going to lose weight without being on another diet. I did the research. I tried all the protocols. I tried all the things. I figured it out. And once I started working with my body instead of against it, everything changed. My energy returned, my brain fog cleared, my inflammation dropped from my body like miraculously. There were no more 3 a.m. wake ups, and my body actually started responding to my healthy lifestyle again. And it wasn't because I was trying harder, right? I didn't do more workouts at the gym. I didn't completely cut out sugar and alcohol. What happened was I had to thoroughly understand what was actually wrong in my body. And so today I'm going to tell you what I learned from that experience. So this episode is about how to actually fix your sleep, your hormones, and your stress, not just manage them, because there's a difference. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to tell you about something brand new that I have built for women who are done guessing and finally ready to understand what is actually happening in their bodies. So let's dive in. If you're tired of losing the same 20 pounds over and over and over again, listen up. For years, I thought something was wrong with me. I kept promising this time would be different, only to find myself stress eating at the kitchen counter after a long, stressful day. I thought the problem was my body. I thought the problem was the diet I was on or my lack of discipline. But the truth, the real problem wasn't what I was doing. It was who I was being. When I finally stopped trying to fix my weight and started transforming my identity, everything changed. No more starting over on Monday. No more food guilt. No more feeling like I was fighting against myself. And now, that's exactly what I help my clients do. Welcome to Stop Dieting Forever, the podcast that helps you break free from self-sabotage, rewire your mindset, and reinvent yourself into the healthy, confident woman that you crave to be. I'm your host, Jennifer Dent Brown, certified life and weight loss coach, and I'm here to show you how to finally stop dieting forever. You ready? Let's dive in. Hey, Lux Lifer. All right, let me explain. Let me start by explaining what happened to me. And I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I feel like it's such an important story that I see mirrored in so many of you that I speak with. So let's go back in time. I am 48 years old. I have lost 30 pounds, and I did that in 6 months over 11 years ago. I have these amazing habits that keep my body slim and trim, keep my weight maintained, all the things. Same level of activity, same habits. But something changed, and it was my body, and nobody told me what was happening. I did not get the memo. And when I say changed, I don't just mean weight gain. I mean, my energy disappeared. I was fatigued all the time. The workouts that used to give me energy, I had to take a nap in the afternoon. My brain fog was crazy. My mood swings were scary. I would walk into rooms and forget why I was there. My hair was falling out. I had injuries and aches and pains that I never had before. My body just did not feel like mine anymore. And can we just talk about my belly that just kept growing and growing and growing and growing? So much so to the point where I was literally cycling between 2 pair of pants that I could wear because those are the only ones that fit. My old pants, my old jeans didn't fit anymore. So around this time, in the beginning of all of these symptoms were starting to pile up, I went to my gynecologist for my annual. And I mentioned some of these symptoms because, we're talking, how are you feeling? Has anything changed since the last time you've been here? And I'm telling him all these things. And at that point, I was really concerned about the hair loss, right? The weight gain, I was like, I can figure that out. Because at that point, didn't really know what was happening. So he told me that it was probably stress and I needed to do a better job at taking a vacation. That's it. I got hair loss, fatigue, brain fog, and his answer was take a vacation. Okay, so then I go to my primary care physician. She ran a basic metabolic panel, and she said, well, your thyroid is fine. Everything came back normal. Your cholesterol is a little bit elevated. But listen, lady, I don't feel normal. And this is where most women give up. Because if your doctors say that you're fine, then you must be fine, right? Except you're not fine, and you know that you're not fine, but you don't know where else to go. So this is what I learned. Most doctors in traditional medicine are running incomplete testing. And when they say that you're normal, they're only looking at a tiny piece of the puzzle. So let me explain what happened with my thyroid, y'all. My doctor ran TSH, which is called thyroid stimulating hormone. That is a standard test. Mine came back normal, somewhere in the reference range, right? But here's what she didn't test. My free T3, which is the active thyroid hormone that your body actually uses. She didn't test my free T4, which is the storage form for this thyroid hormone. She didn't retest my reverse T3, which can block thyroid function. And she didn't look at my thyroid antibodies, which show if my immune system is attacking my thyroid. So when she said my thyroid was fine, technically it was because she was only looking at one marker. It's like a home inspector looking at your roof and saying that your house is fine, but never checking the foundation, never looking at the plumbing, never looking at the electrical system. And that basic metabolic panel that she ran, it typically includes blood sugar, but it doesn't include your fasting insulin or insulin resistance, cholesterol, but it doesn't include inflammation markers, and then basic kidney and liver function. What the basic metabolic panel doesn't include, comprehensive hormones. I knew something was changing hormonally because my periods were all wacky. doesn't include cortisol patterns, doesn't include inflammatory markers, doesn't include nutrient deficiencies, and it does not include any sleep related biomarkers. Now, yeah, I am not a medical professional, okay? When all of this stuff was happening to me, I didn't know any of this. I was like, thyroid, okay. No idea what a T3 was, what a T4 was, or what the T3 conversion, like none of that. I had to learn during my own research, trying to figure out what was going on in my body. Now I know just enough to be dangerous. But listen, when your doctors tell you that you're normal, they're often working with incomplete information. Not to fault them, because that's what they learned. So when my gynecologist told me to take a vacation, he probably thought he was doing me a favor, right? Because that's what happens when providers don't have the tools or the training to actually investigate what's wrong. And this is, listen, not a knock on individual doctors. Most of them are doing the best that they can in a broken system. But the system is designed to catch disease and not optimize health. And as a health coach, I want to optimize my health. So normal on paper means that you're not sick enough for them to prescribe you any type of medication. It just means that you're not thriving. So I found a functional practitioner. Didn't even know where to go for a functional practitioner. I ended up mentioning it to my best friend, and she's like, oh, I think so-and-so from high school does that. I think I saw something on Facebook, and she was a nurse practitioner and she knew about hormonal health. So a functional practitioner is someone who doesn't just look at whether you're sick, they look at whether you're thriving. And so she ran the labs that my other doctors wouldn't. A comprehensive hormone panel, detailed thyroid markers, inflammatory markers, cortisol testing, insulin, blood sugar patterns, and suddenly I had some answers. Insulin resistance, y'all. I didn't even know what insulin resistance was. I was like, I don't have a sweet tooth. What is insulin resistance? Why is my insulin resistant? I had to learn about that. I was literally on my way to pre-diabetes and no one else had caught it. Chronic inflammation. My body was in a constant state of stress response because of how I was living my life and what this brain over here was doing. My cortisol was elevated. My nervous system was stuck in survival mode. And my sleep architecture was a mess. So I was not getting restorative sleep because my butt was waking up bright-eyed, bushy-tailed every morning at 2 a.m. And so these are the things that don't show up on basic lab work, but they explain everything, especially when you're in your grown woman era, over 40. So this explains why I had to take a nap in the afternoon. This explains why my body was holding on to weight and my belly was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This explains why my brain felt foggy, why I couldn't sleep through the night. So this was nothing about like Jennifer all of a sudden having a sweet tooth or Jennifer deciding she didn't want to eat vegetables anymore. This was about my body, which was physiologically stuck. And I know this is happening to so many of you. So I worked with this practitioner for like 7-8 months and I spent hundreds of dollars on supplements. I followed her protocols. I did everything she told me to do. However, she did not give me any lifestyle protocols to help reduce my stress. Now, because I'm a health coach and a life coach, I kind of knew what I needed to do. About month 7, we were working together and she reviewed my labs. I think it was the 3rd set of labs that we had done. And she looked at me and she was like, Jennifer, unless you get your cortisol down, you are fucked. That was literally her clinical recommendation. And my heart sank. Like I wanted to cry. Now, I appreciate the honesty for sure. And I realized that I needed to manage my stress first before anything else could be supported through supplements or lifestyle. But that was that moment where I was like, okay, nobody else is coming to save me. Nobody's giving me a blueprint of what I needed to do. Not my doctor, not my gynecologist, not even the functional practitioner that I was paying for out of pocket. I had to figure this out for myself. I didn't know the path that it was going to take me on, but as all things in life, everything happens for a reason. And here we are. This is a good reason, y'all. This is a good reason. I suffered so you can benefit. I became my own guinea pig. I researched everything about cortisol. I researched everything about stress reduction. I was collecting data like nobody's business. My Aura Ring data became very helpful. I studied nervous system regulation. I studied hormone optimization. I created different protocols for myself. I tracked what worked and what didn't work. And once I started working with my body instead of against it, that's when I finally started to see things change. Now, this was over a time period of almost 2 years. I was trying to figure this out. My energy returned. My brain fog dissipated. The inflammation on my body finally dropped. The water weight that I was holding, it released. And y'all, the best part, I could think again. My moods were better. And I started sleeping through the night. Those first couple of nights when I was like, oh my God, I woke up without an alarm clock and I didn't wake up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. I was like ecstatic. I was so excited. I just wanted to like wake up and start dancing. It was amazing. So my body literally started responding again to the healthy habits and the healthy lifestyle that I already had. So it wasn't because I restricted myself or I tried to do something drastic. It was through resourcing. And that means I had to thoroughly understand what my body actually needed and give it to myself so I could make a difference in how my body was responding, how it was operating. And that is when I realized that this is a missing piece for every woman that I work with. So during the holidays, I was thinking about my own transformation because by the end of 2025, I was feeling amazing. Like my belly was flat again. I could wear my pants. My workout clothes weren't too tight. Like I didn't have to wear big blousy shirts anymore. I'm sleeping through the night. Like I was feeling amazing. I'm so much more productive at work now. So after I went through my own transformation, I started wondering like, okay, I bet you the same thing is happening with my clients. Let's do a deep dive. So I did something that I never done before. I spent an entire day going through client data, 76 hours of client work. I'm talking session notes, weight trends, mindset patterns, coaching calls, where they made their breakthroughs, where they kept running into walls, and where they were sabotaging themselves. And here's the data that I found. 100% of my clients had functional wellness gaps. Every single one. Not 80%, not 79%, not most of them, all of them. Because I wasn't looking at this information. I'm looking at their mindset, I'm looking at their lifestyle and their nutrition. But so these women weren't failing, right? They weren't not doing the work. They were doing the work. They were shifting their identity, but they were also fighting physiology. So after reviewing all of this data, I identified 3 things that must be addressed for women over 40 for y'all to feel good: stress, hormones, and sleep. That's it. Calling it the Sleep-Hormone-Stress Trifecta. And here's why this matters. If any one of these 3 things is off, your body will fight releasing weight. Doesn't matter how perfect your diet is. Doesn't matter how consistent you are with exercise. If your body is physiologically stuck, the weight is going to stay there like your best friend and not feel like your best friend. So let's talk about each one. Let's start with sleep. So when we think about getting enough sleep, we're thinking about getting 8 hours. And yeah, that's a general rule of thumb. So this is not about you having to go get 8 hours of sleep every single night. This is about your sleep being quality and your sleep debt. So if you're waking up at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. and you can't fall back asleep, that's probably a cortisol problem. If you're sleeping 7 to 8 hours, but you're still waking up feeling tired or you get tired in the afternoon, that is likely your sleep architecture and you're not getting enough deep sleep or REM sleep. If you've been operating on 5 to 6 hours a night for years, and that's been like, okay, that's my thing, I can do that. You have sleep debt now, my friend. Sleep debts. And your body will not release fat easily when it is sleep deprived. One of my clients had 14 plus hours of accumulated sleep debt. And we know that because of her Aura Ring data. So that's a new biomarker that Aura now provides for you is your sleep debt. And that's not like, oh, I just need a nap to catch up. That is my body is in survival mode. So let's talk about hormones. After 40, your hormones are shifting at different rates, right? Your estrogen is going to begin to drop, your progesterone begins to drop, your testosterone drops. For me, my testosterone was the first thing to plummet. And most doctors won't act until you are in full-blown menopause. And they'll tell you you're normal even if your progesterone is at the bottom of the range because they're not testing it. I didn't know my progesterone was low until I switched to a second functional medicine practitioner. Low progesterone, y'all, causes anxiety, sleep disruption, and weight gain around the middle. That was 3 things that I was dealing with. My epic mood swings, which caused anxiety, my sleep disruption, waking up every morning at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., and my burgeoning stomach that I could not get control of. Low estrogen causes brain fog, hot flashes, and muscle loss. And low testosterone causes fatigue, low libido, and difficulty building muscle. Your girl was going to the gym all the time, and her muscles were non-existent. So normal doesn't mean optimal. It just means you're not dying. And let's talk about stress, because this is the big one. Chronic stress keeps your cortisol elevated. I'm sorry, y'all. It does. I know it's hard to hear, and you're like, but Jennifer, you don't know my life. How am I going to control my stress? I said the same thing. But I figured it out. So when your cortisol is high, your body does 3 things. It stores fat around your midsection. It disrupts your sleep, which means, bing, 2 a.m., your body thinks it's like time to wake up for the day, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you cannot go back to sleep. And when your cortisol is high, it also interferes with your thyroid function, making everything a little bit sluggish. And so you can't take a pill and move your way out of elevated cortisol. You can't just tell yourself, okay, Jennifer, relax. When your nervous system is stuck in survival mode, this requires actual intervention. And so here's the reason why all 3 of these things are important: sleep, stress, hormones. Poor sleep raises your cortisol. So when you wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning, that stresses you out. Stresses you out for the whole day. High cortisol disrupts your hormones. Hormone imbalances makes your sleep even worse when you are asleep. So it is a nasty little cycle, and you cannot fix one without addressing all 3. So if you find yourself doing the work, you're working on your mindset and you're working on your habits, but your weight isn't changing, we're not addressing the physiological foundation. So you may be thinking, Jennifer, this explains a lot. However, I have no idea how I'm going to address all of these things. Like, my life is so busy. It's so jam-packed. I have so many things that are happening. People need me to help them, take care of them. Like, there's so much happening. I get it. I had the same experience, right? That's why it took me almost 2 years to figure all of this stuff out, because I had so much happening in my life. But so much happening in my life was also contributing to the problem. So I knew that I needed to build something different. After figuring this out for myself, seeing this reflected in some of my clients, I wanted to create something that actually fixes sleep, hormones, and stress, and not just manages them. So not just going on vacation where you can get a good night's sleep. I'm not talking about just doing mindset work, not just following a meal plan, keeping your blood sugar stable, and exercising. Like, those things are important, but that's not it. The actual physiological foundation that must be in place for your body to respond is what we need to look at. And this is why I've created Forever Well Private Coaching, new for 2026. This is a 12-month program that, yes, a full year that combines identity-based transformation with comprehensive functional lab testing. And this is my promise to you when you begin this program. You will sleep through the night. You will see your hormones balanced. Yes, your over 40 perimenopausal hormones. And you will tame chronic stress in your first 6 months. The chronic stress that is keeping your body stuck. And I'm not talking about like we're just working on these things and we're managing them better for 12 months. No, actually fixing them. So let me tell you how this is going to work. There's 2 phases to this process. There's your first 6 months, which is phase 1, which I'm calling learn and lose. So you're going to learn what's happening in your body. This is where we find out, we start collecting your data, we get your first baseline labs. This is where we fix the foundation, your sleep, your hormones, and your stress. So you're going to get weekly one-on-one coaching calls with me. We're going to be working on your identity, your habits, your lifestyle. We're going to be working on your nervous system regulation. And most importantly, the mindset shifts that make everything else possible and make it easy for you. But here's what we're going to do differently. We're also going to get your comprehensive lab work every 90 days. So in the first 3 months, we're going to do the baseline testing. 71 biomarkers, y'all. 71 things we're going to be looking at. Hormones, thyroid, metabolism, inflammation, cortisol, nutrients, your sleep markers. You're going to review these results with a medical professional, not me, because I am not a medical professional. Like I said, I know just enough to be dangerous because I had to do my own research, but I am your coach, not your doctor. But here's what I will help you do. I will help you understand what the labs mean for your daily life. I coordinate between you and your medical team. I make sure nothing falls through the cracks, because here's what usually happens. You go get your labs done. Your doctor says everything's normal, and you leave frustrated and confused. With Forever Well, you're getting your labs reviewed by providers that I have vetted, that I use myself, who will actually look at your optimal ranges, not just normal. And then I'm there to help you implement whatever protocols they recommend. So by month 3 and 4, we're doing your follow-up testing. We're going to see how your body is responding. The medical team is going to adjust your protocols based on the data. And yes, if appropriate, based on your labs, the medical providers can prescribe what your body needs. And that could be HRT, right? Bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Could be peptides. I started peptide therapy in 2025, and I feel amazing. It could be GLP-1s, right? Which is a peptide. All optional, all prescribed by licensed professionals, not by me. Let's be clear. So my role is going to coach you through the lifestyle piece, the identity work, the habits, the nervous system regulation, the stress management. The medical team will handle the clinical piece, and we're doing it all under one umbrella. And so by the end of your first 6 months in phase 1, you're going to be sleeping through the night. Your hormones are going to start to show signs of being balanced. Your stress response is regulated. Your body is starting to respond again to the lifestyle changes that we're making together. And food is becoming neutral. Your energy is returning. Phase 2, which is what I call the live phase, which are months 7 through 12. And this is where we cement in this transformation. So now we've moved from weekly coaching calls to bi-weekly coaching calls, because now you're in your rhythm. You got it, right? But I'm still there for that support. Because at this point, you don't need my help every single week. You need me for crisis navigation, for holiday support, vacation planning, things like that. But I'm going to help you prove that this identity shift that you've been making in months 1 through 6 is permanent. So by month 6 and month 9, we're going to do more lab work, right? We're going to continue to monitoring with the medical team. And again, we're not looking for disease prevention. We're looking for optimization. We are fine tuning what is happening in your body. So the goal of phase two, this isn't something that you're doing anymore. This is who you are. This is the new you. So your sleep is solid, your hormones are balanced, and your stress doesn't feel like it's going to derail you. Food is neutral, and your body feels home again. It feels like something that you can love again. So you're like, okay, get it. Sounds good, but dang, 12 months? Really? Like a whole full year? Does it take that long? The short answer, yes. Because fixing your sleep, your hormones, and stress all at the same time is not going to happen in 90 days. Your body needs time to heal. Your body needs time to rebalance, and it needs time to build new patterns that actually stick. So I want you to think about like your first 3 months, you're getting the data, you're starting the protocols, and you're seeing initial improvements. Months 4 through 6, this is where the deeper healing happens. Your body starts to trust that this is real. Your sleep is solidifying, your hormones begin to stabilize. And by month 7 through 9, you're testing the transformation during stress, holidays, travel, work, whatever. And this is where you prove to yourself that, oh, this is actually me. This is permanent. Like, this is my life. This is my body. And so by month, like the last 2 months, 10 to 12, you're living it. This is your new normal. So this is what makes us different from every other weight loss program. We're not guessing what's wrong, right? Because we have this functional wellness component now. Every 90 days, you're getting comprehensive lab work. And we're looking at 71 different things. And you're going to review these results with a licensed medical professional. And this medical professional is going to tell you what's happening clinically and prescribe appropriate protocols. Now, as your coach, I'm going to help you analyze your data over time because y'all best believe, I love looking at data. The more data we have about our bodies, the better decisions that we can make. So we're not just looking at one snapshot, right? One set of labs. We're tracking trends over a full 12 months. Is your cortisol coming down? Oh, it went back up. What do we do differently? What's happening? Are your hormones stabilizing because we just use supplementation and nutrition? Or do we need to bring in some HRT? Is your inflammation decreasing? And then this is the part that actually matters. I'm coaching you on implementation because here's what I know after over a decade of doing this work. My clients are smart. Y'all are smart. You don't lack knowledge. You do your research. You know that you need to manage your stress better. You know that you need to get into bed earlier and sleep more. You probably know what foods make you feel good and what foods don't. What you don't understand is your own self-sabotaging behavior that keeps you stuck. You don't know why you do exactly what you do, but you can't seem to do the thing that you want to do consistently. You don't know how to implement lifestyle changes in a busy, unpredictable life when you're trying to manage a career, a family, aging parents, and everything else. Listen, when I had my first diagnosis after my first comprehensive set of labs, and she told me I was insulin resistant and I had adrenal fatigue and my cortisol level were high and my inflammation was high, I was like, oh my God, I talk about overwhelm. I had no idea what was happening and why this happened to me. I needed some support. I needed some help trying to figure out with the emotional side of my body just like completely betraying me. So if your medical team says that your cortisol is elevated and tells you, okay, I think we need to do some adaptogens as like a supplement, great. But I'm going to coach you on one, the initial shock of that diagnosis. I'm also going to coach you on why you reach for food when you're stressed and what's driving that behavior and how to interpret the pattern. If the medical practitioner prescribes HRT, right, bioidentical hormones, fantastic. But I'm going to coach you on how to actually prioritize your sleep when you have a million things on your plate, how to say no, how to stop people pleasing your way into exhaustion. If your labs show that you are pre-diabetic, the medical team will give you some guidance on how to handle that clinically. But I'm going to coach you on why you want to eat differently when you're alone versus with other people, right? Social eating strategies. I'm going to coach you on why you fall off track every single weekend. I'm going to coach you on how to make sustainable changes that work with your actual life and not some like glorified ideal version that will never happen. So this is the difference between a cookie cutter plan and full transformation. A cookie cutter plan says, oh, you're pre-diabetic, stop eating carbs, stop eating sugar, manage your stress, get 8 hours of sleep. You already know that. You don't need a 12-month program to know that. Transformation says, let's figure out why you're using sugar to cope. Let's understand the identity and behavioral patterns that are keeping you stuck. Let's build a system that works for your life. This is why I'm calling this 12-month transformation Forever Well. So let me just paint a picture of what this is actually possible for you. You're going to stop wondering what is wrong with your body. We're running the labs. You will know exactly what's happening, not what WebMD says might be happening or what ChatGPT might say is happening. You're going to stop depending on motivation to get you through another holiday, another birthday party. You're not going to get a meal plan and a pep talk. You're going to get weekly life coaching that rewires how you think about food, your body, and what you're capable of. You're going to stop living in fear of regaining any weight that you do lose. This is not a 90-day sprint, y'all. This is a full year of building, cementing, and making the transformation permanent. By month 12, you're going to be like, peace out, Jennifer. I don't need you anymore. And I'm going to be like, go ahead, y'all. Go ahead, girl. Fly, fly, fly. Fly out of the nest. You're going to start living inside of a system that works for your biology, your nervous system, and your real life. And when real life happens, you're going to have the information and you're going to know how to change your system, alter your system based on your new reality. Because let's be real, life is always changing and fluctuating and throwing us curveballs. But when you know how to regulate your nervous system and your brain fog is gone, you can think the way that you need to think to move through that life circumstance. That's the difference. So this is not about you running from doctor to doctor. Oh, I need to go see my endocrinologist. Oh, I need to go see my gynecologist. Oh, I need to go see my primary care physician. And you're trying to piece all these things together. No, I already did that. It took me 2 years. I already did that work. This is you finally having all of the pieces that you need in one place under one umbrella and finally having the right support. So Forever Well is for professional women who are navigating perimenopause and menopause, our bodies that have stopped playing by the rules. It's for women who are tired of being told, nope, you're fine, when you know that something is wrong. It's for women who are afraid to figure out and find out what is really wrong with them. Because I know for some of y'all are so busy and you know that your body is not cooperating, but you don't even want to take the time to figure out what's wrong because that scares you. I'm here to hold your hand through that whole process. This is for women who want to end nighttime eating. You want to sleep through the night. You want to have steady energy all day and you want to feel like yourself again. This is not for the woman who wants a quick fix. This is not for the woman who wants to lose 10 pounds before your college reunion. This is for the woman who is in her grown woman era. You are ready to do the work. You are ready to invest in yourself, and you are ready for lasting transformation and not temporary results. If you're like, oh, this is something that I know I need, here's what happens next. You're going to book a free 60-minute consultation with me. We'll talk about where you are, where you want to be, and whether Forever Well is the right fit for you. And if we're both a yes, then you can start within a week. But I want you to be clear. This is a limited container. I cannot coach 80 people every single week, one-on-one. So this is a small group of people who are ready to start right now. This is not a group program. This is private one-on-one coaching combined with functional wellness support. This is unseen in the industry. I haven't seen anyone offering anything like this before. You can either get one or the other. I'm bringing it all together. And if you're ready to start guessing what's happening with your body, if you're ready for solutions, if you're ready to find out what the problem is so you can solve it, and you're ready to start optimizing, I want you to book that consultation now. jenniferdent.com/consult. The link is in the show notes. So listen, 10 years ago in 2016, I started this company, Lux Life Coaching. And from there, my mission was how to teach women how to stop dieting forever. Well, this is phase 2. Forever Well is what happens next. It is for the woman who has done the work of liberating herself from diet culture, and you're ready for the next evolution. And the evolution where you understand your body, where you have the data, where you're not waiting for your doctor to take you seriously, where you bring the evidence and you demand optimal and not normal. That is the grown woman era. And I am ready to walk you through it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a listener, a reader, an audience member, a follower. I'm celebrating 10 years of this coaching company, Lux Life Coaching. So thank you for your support. And I can't wait to support you through this next grown woman era into Forever Well. All right, y'all, live Lux, and I will see you in the next episode. Did you love today's episode? Are you loving this podcast? Then you're going to love Forever Well, which is my exclusive newsletter where I break down how to stop self-sabotaging your weight loss and reinvent yourself into the healthy, grown-ass, confident woman you know you want to be. Girl, each week I'm going to send you bold insights, real talk, because, I like to keep it real, and strategies that you can actually use to start your diet-free lifestyle straight to your inbox. Subscribe now at jenniferdent.com/email club or find the link in the show notes and start your reinvention today. Oh, and if you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review because it helps more women just like you find this life-changing work. All right, y'all, head on over to jenniferdent.com/email club to get Forever Well. All right, live Lux, and I'll see you in the next episode.